Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Laid Back Life podcast, where we're talking about how to love life, entrepreneurship, and improve daily. Joining me today, one of the people that walks the walk so well, Billy Tarascio, my, I dare I say, good friend, if not amazing colleague. If you'll let us, yeah? Can I say
Absolutely.
friend? All right, awesome.
Absolutely.
The last time Billy and I talked, it was on a totally different podcast. We went super deep on no rules rules about Netflix and how we were like doing different stuff in our businesses because Billy has long been one of the people I have most admired in terms of how she runs her company from the standpoint of a family law firm in Arizona, but also from the standpoint of like doing pro bono day and giving out all this free advice and generating reviews and figuring out different locations for Google Maps to help the right kind of clients in the right areas, all while just being a badass.
Thanks, Jordan. That's a great intro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I it's easy to give you a great intro.
Well, so you told me this podcast is really about how do you integrate life and law, right? And entrepreneurship. And I think so much of that comes from like knowing yourself and knowing what you enjoy as a human, and then figure out how do I do that at home and in work. And so all of those experiments that you described are because I like doing them. It's fun. It's fun. I don't care if something fails.
Have you always been that way?
Yeah.
Okay.
Although I have to say, I have evolved certainly because nobody really likes to fail. That's a mindset shift, really, to approach things with curiosity instead of conviction was a big lesson for me. Because I used to go in just knowing something to be true and I was going to make it happen. And that does not work as well as saying we're going to try something and then see what happens and then pivot because things don't usually work out exactly how you expect them to. And it's better if that's okay from the beginning.
So I wore suits when I first opened my firm. And at some point I was like, if I'm going out of business, I'm going out of business in a Hawaiian shirt and flip-flops and shorts. I don't like, did you have like a Billy's gonna finally be 100% Billy moment, or was it just like the more you were okay with things going sideways, the more that allowed you to be you?
I mean, I never fit in ever. So I didn't really try to fit in. I never fit in. I pissed off other lawyers from the beginning because I was like, I don't like your system. Your system doesn't work for my life, is really what happened. I had a baby in
Oh,
school. I was married.
okay.
I was married and I had a baby, and the system of law that normally we plug into wasn't going to work for me as a mom of a newborn. And so I was like, not doing that, not doing that. And so that it started very, very early. Like, your system sucks for me. So we're going to do something else. And I know clients. I know clients. I understand clients. I know what they need. They don't need me to be in a stuffy suit downtown. They need me to be accessible, flexible, creative. I can do that.
See, you said you've never fit in. I would say you've always stood out.
Mm, are those the same?
I think so. Like, well, from the standpoint of what you're saying about clients, they certainly are, because that client that wants the accessibility is looking at the one lawyer taking the videos with everybody dressed in black, looking like it's the front of a awesome record versus like everybody's in suits and we're standing in front of the courthouse in in the area that we practice most law. Like, there's a client who's going to see that you being different in exactly the way they want and be attracted to that as opposed to fitting in and not knowing the difference between 390,000 of the 400,000 firms that currently exist.
Yeah, well, I think what's hard is if we were more concerned about connecting with our clients and understanding our clients and less concerned about our reputation in the legal community, we would all be more successful.
Mm.
But most of us become lawyers because we want the prestige of being a lawyer and the acceptance and the respect of the legal community. And that I think actually works against us as business people.
Interesting. And I mean, like, I read the Florida bar news every month for the like, what did people get punished for? I've
Mm.
never seen one that was like, wore a Hawaiian shirt in their office and was approachable to clients. But I totally get what you're saying from the standpoint of like I gave a presentation to our local bar and there was a panel before me and one of the guys talked about how it's important to always wear a suit. And then I got up there dressed as me and it was really funny.
Yeah. You're like, how important is it?
I'm here, you know?
Yeah.
Um, but like how do we help more people not have that fear and embrace themselves and live in alignment?
Yeah.
What's the kick in the ass?
I mean, I think the people who become lawyers follow the rules. We do things right. We do what's expected. We succeed within a system. You can't be a lawyer without succeeding within the system. And the system is college, and then it's law school, and then it's the bar. You got to be compliant. You got to be sheep by the time you take the bar. But somehow, in order to be most authentic and I think most successful, you have to turn off being a sheep and figure out like what's most important to me and how do I completely and totally own that and not worry about anything beyond like what is authentic for me and what do I need and what serves me and my family and my clients. So I don't know how that happens.
Well, and I don't know either, but my concern is like your state is leading the way with this. Like
Mhm.
KPMG owns a law firm now. Like the system that we have been supported by on the
Mhm.
upside or boxed in by on the downside
Mhm.
is changing.
It is. It is. And when the floodgates open, the system won't come save you. The system might crumble. That system that gives us insulation as lawyers because there's scarcity built in, right? There's scarcity built in. And so business is kind of easy because there's not enough lawyers for the amount of people who have legal problems. So it's kind of easy to be successful. But when that goes away, when we have more licensed legal paraprofessionals or businesses that are coming in and being able to offer legal services, we're going to have to adapt real quick. So if we start now, we're going to be in better shape by the time that system maybe starts to crumble.
And I don't think KPMG is competing with modern law. I
Nope.
think KPMG is competing with, well, I guess non-modern law, right? Like, is a bunch of old white dudes in white shirts or blue shirts with a blue or gray suit. Like, there's a uniqueness that's going to make you more resistant to any change to the system that we are controlled by.
Right, because we have a relationship with our clients and in our community. And that isn't going to change if some big box family law turnkey system comes into play because they're not going to have the relationship and the investment in the community. So I think that's another really key thing is like be in your community.
Yes. Where?
So one crazy thing happened to me within the last year, and it didn't happen to me, it happened to my community. I don't know
Okay.
if you've heard about it. Have you heard about the Gilbert Goons?
The what?
The Gilbert Goons.
No.
Okay. So a crazy, crazy thing happened in my community, Gilbert, Arizona, which is a uppity, um, white people, suburban picket fence community. And it was that these teenage boys were running around beating random people up. And these were rich kids, and they killed someone.
Oh my gosh.
And there was no arrest for months and months, and everybody knew who did it. And eventually, our newspaper did an article about it, and like there was corruption with the police department, and I started talking about it. And it was like a you don't talk about it because these rich families were threatening to sue people and show
Ah,
people up.
okay. Got it.
Like everybody was scared, and I just started talking about it. I started talking about the school that was sending out letters claiming it was defamation to talk about blah blah blah. No, I jumped into that like mess of drama, and that really increased my credibility and audience in the community because now they were coming to me for relevant information and legal information and how do we keep our kids safe. And I'm coming at this from a member of the community and from a mom with teens. So that was a really cool thing that happened, even though it was just absolutely awful and tragic. And so
Right.
that might be happening in your community. There might be a school district that's closing or, whatever. There might be stuff like that happening that you should be talking about.
And there's a but and I whatever, and we'll make it improv. And there's a part of who you are though that made this the right thing for you to comment on just as much as the person who commented on being you was a right fit too. Am I correct in
Yeah.
that?
Absolutely, absolutely. And the other thing is like I was very authentic with what is my area of expertise? And then I started having criminal lawyers come on my podcast and gang experts come on my podcast and other experts related to this area. I mean, I interviewed the Maricopa County a- attorney prosecutor, like the head prosecutor, because the community hated what she was doing. And because I was talking about it, she came on my podcast to defend herself. It was cool.
That's awesome.
It was cool.
So it's not just getting involved in the community. I think it's like it's finding that I guess as lawyers, we can comment on almost any topic. So
We
that's part
can.
of it, but that's an easy one for us. But then like the finding who you are, like you talked about the mom, you talked like just
Right.
the wanting to stand out, the not being afraid of these rich, well-to-do families.
Right. Right. And institutions that were trying to get people to like hush, hush, like, no. So you have a place as a lawyer. You have a place. It might be commenting on, bills that are happening or trends that you're seeing or whatever. It's got to be real and authentic to you, but you care about the same things that other members of your community care about, right? And people have been talking about this forever. And usually they'll be like, oh, these sports teams. We talk about these sports teams, but it doesn't have to just be sports teams. It can be anything.
Well, and I mean it's a community within the community, right? Like within
Mhm.
the Phoenix area, within the Gilbert area, within the I just the biggest thing for me is trying to help people find the right group for them. And
Yeah,
so like even from like a leads group like a BNI, you've got the ones that are super anal. Like we are in here, everybody's on time. We are generating our one-to-ones and our leads. And then you've got the ones that are like, "Hey, we're hanging out and if leads happen, leads happen." Like figure out where you are on that spectrum and find that group. Figure out what organization in the community is fighting for the same thing that you're interested in, is the same uh, mentality of person, something like it's not just a whole community. It's finding like the niche of the niche of the niche that is you, I
right.
think.
Yeah, I agree. And if you can get comfortable in front of a camera, the best thing you could possibly do is be authentically you in front of a camera and post it out because the algorithms will work magic. There's this lawyer in Australia named Fidan who is currently trending and blowing up on TikTok. And she couldn't be more different than me as a family law attorney. And she makes videos of like, let's make a salad together and talks very slowly and went out to her garden to pick blah 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 and then she'll talk about family law maybe one day a week but like people love her just you have if you can just be you people will find you who like you.
How do people find out who they are to present as themselves?
Shouldn't we know who we are?
No. Well, yeah, but I like here's the thing. I want to make sure I am 100% in agreement with what you're saying. I think though that the phone is the worst thing for us finding ourselves because I can go
Mm,
on Facebook and never reach the bottom of everybody else's thing. And I have every book of recorded human history on here and every website. Like it's so easy to get lost in all of the content instead of finding yourself to make content about you in there.
mm-hmm.
And so, like, I
Yeah,
don't know how to help people find themselves.
well, yeah, maybe you don't consume content and you just make it.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I wish there were like hey, answer these 20 questions and then you will know who you are. And maybe
Well,
there are, but
we should be using ChatGPT for that.
there we
Like
go. Fair. All
you
right.
should
So
be in ChatGPT saying, "Help me find my voice, help me find my niche, ask me any questions you need to help me figure this out." And then from there on out, that becomes your partner in content creation.
dear computer, I
Yeah,
want to be a human. Computer,
right.
please help me
Yeah.
figure out how to be a human.
Yeah. It's not, but it is pretty, it's a really amazing program.
It's phenomenal. Yeah.
And if you ask it, tell me everything you know about me and the things that make me different. I've done this before. It does a fabulous, fabulous job. And then do the opposite. Okay, given all of this and all of my strengths and everything you know about me, what could my potential weaknesses be or blind spots? And the insights are just, if you use it all the time, it gets to know a lot about you,
Right.
has a lot of insights.
Well, I was not joking, dead serious. I told my executive assistant, who is a real person, I was like, "Hey, if I don't give you enough context and you're not sure what to do, like ask ChatGPT what it thinks I would do in this situation.
Mhm.
Ask my ChatGPT." And we're selling some office furniture, and like she went on and she researched what the office furniture is worth, and she knocked it down 30-40% and listed it and all this. ChatGPT was like, Jordan, you don't want to worry about haggling with people. Either give it away almost free, donate it to a nonprofit, trade it for networking, have somebody buy you dinner in exchange for a desk. And I was
Mhm.
like, you get me, ChatGPT,
You
thank
get me.
you.
You know me. Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
All right, so we are working with ChatGPT to figure out who we are. We are making content about ourselves. We are getting involved in the community in the way that makes sense. What else? How else do we live in alignment with ourselves in a way that supports our business while having a great life?
Okay. Okay. The question is what's the question again?
That's a great question. So we ChatGPT is helping us find ourselves. We're making some content about getting ourselves out there. We found our community within our community within our community. We're talking there like, what else do you do that helps you live a great life while still running an awesome business? Like what else is the alignment of ourselves in life?
One thing is kind of always um constantly being in a state of change. So I mentioned
Hmm.
to you that my three stepkids just moved in full time. So prior to that, I had my kids half the time, and my partner's kids lived across the country, and we had them, for vacations, and he would go see them. And so I had a lot more time to work, right? On the weeks I didn't have my kids, I could work a lot. And now we have six kids, four of them half the time because one of mine also moved in full time. And so it means that like the the amount of time that I can spend on work has to shift. And the amount of attention that I'm spending on work has to shift. And the way I'm delegating has to shift. I feel like to be authentic and to live life and run a business authentically, you have to understand that things are always, always changing. And so what you need 6 months from now may not be what you need today. And you may have to be delegating differently or incorporating things into your life differently. And that's just got to be okay because things never stay the same.
Have you ever read 168 Hours by Laura Vanderkam?
No?
Okay, so it's either my favorite or second favorite book of all time, of at least of like the nonfiction stuff. I've read it multiple times in one sitting. But she does the best job explaining what you're talking about from the standpoint of like working as a mom, but working as a parent, and like you can consider split shifts and do this, and where do you have support, and just like the way that she breaks it down, I think is so specific to give you all the different options and figure out what makes the most sense for you because I so agree. Like it is amazing to me the people that have their own business and are like I need to work 8 to 5 Monday through Friday and you're like why?
You don't. You don't have to do anything the way that other people are doing it, right? And
Yeah.
you can hire house managers and you can hire nannies and you have unlimited ability to work your life the way you get to design it. Like we have so much power and flexibility. So Like, let's not take that for granted or not. And also, let's not use that, let's not fail to use that to its full extent to design the best life.
And I want to give you another walk the walk shout out. The hiring like the legal assistant to also potentially watch your kids and then like the whole the stupid fallout of like anyway, I Billy posted about a job to like support her in this situation, and I thought it was so great to like be open and honest with your employees because like how often do you hire a paralegal who like gets blindsided by watching your kids here and there instead of embracing like, look, this is my life and I might need you to do these things here and there, and you got I think unnecessary flack, unrequired flack because
Yeah.
like
So I
this
have
is
to
what
tell
life
this
is about.
story. So
Yeah.
I woke up one morning and I had a text from a client of mine who's also a paralegal, and she's like, "You are getting dragged in these paralegal groups." I'm like, "What?" So, and then it was on Twitter. And all of a sudden, like, I'm getting modern law and me are getting dragged online because there's a job posting for one of my attorneys who's been with me for a long, long, long time, who has twins. And this job posting is for a legal assistant for her who can also help her with her kids if they are homesick. Because when we looked at the end of the year, she had really struggled that year. Her kids had been sick, her clients were unhappy. She was having a really hard time balancing.
And I take it back. It wasn't even for you. I
It wasn't for
forgot that
me.
it
It
was you
wasn't.
being an overly supportive boss
It
for an
wasn't for me.
employee for them to find a supportive
Yeah.
employee for oh
Yeah.
man, even
And they
more
thought it was
undeserved
very,
dragging.
yeah. And they thought it was disrespectful and demeaning that you would ask a paralegal who is a professional to do that. And it was like, okay, no, this is an entry level position. And you know what's funny? Because things always, always, always change. By the time we hired that person, Kylie's kids were no longer getting sick all the time. And she actually didn't do very
Uh,
much childcare at all. And now she's an amazing, wonderful paralegal and a designated trainer in my office.
there we go. Well, but the thing like okay, you're getting dragged for being honest about the potential things, but like to me that position called to a very specific kind of person, right? Like
Right.
there's
Right.
that legal assistant who was a teacher in the past
Yes.
who has
Who
a,
wants
you
to
know,
get into the legal
sibling like
field?
there
Yeah.
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 More I just it goes to the like you don't have to work 8 to 5. Like you can create the position that you want, you can find the work that you want to do, you can find the support that you need. And I think that the more that you live in alignment and the more that you are honest about what help you need, the more you help other people live in their alignment.
Yeah. But also look at the pressure and the risk when you go outside the lines. Like there's not a
What's
lot
the
of,
risk?
I mean, I there were articles written about me in Law
Yeah.
360 about how awful this job position was. Like
Yeah.
there were hundreds of people in on any given day. But you know what I did? I went to TikTok. I went to my audience and I made a Am I the asshole post.
Right.
Not there. I didn't go fight with them where I was getting dragged. I made my own content from my own perspective to my people. And then that ended up on the front page of Reddit. So, like, you have to be willing to handle backlash and not get support from the legal community if you are going to do things differently.
But like okay, this is so far upfield, but directly to your point, right? So Kyle Rittenhouse, right? Like this guy shot 3 people and killed 2 of them. I don't care whatever anybody's perspective is on why or whatever. My point is there was a thrash metal punk rock concert in Orlando that paid Kyle Rittenhouse to show up, and I don't know, he's not in a band. So like just be there or something like that. And then like the whole thing blew up and a bunch of people canceled and whatever. I was like, but here's a guy who's famous for killing 2 people and like this concert thought he would be enough of a draw to give him money to show up to it. So like what is the risk of I don't know who actually gets canceled.
Right, right. And, you know, sometimes even negative can turn into positive if you're willing to do it.
For listen, if you have your entire life built on a house of lies, then like the truth ruins you. If you are in alignment the whole way through, you're gonna piss people off anyway, but the people that understand what you're doing, like you can't be canceled because they know who you are and they appreciate you being you and whatever.
That's totally true. Unabashed honesty is a an easier way to go than trying to pretend anyway.
Right. I like that. I don't know. Everybody talks about like, oh, there's the risk of coloring outside the lines and whatever. I'm like, but what is show me? Is
Hmm.
there where is the former bar president who one day wore a bow tie and now no longer gets cases? I don't know what this. Yeah, if you cheat on people, if you steal money, if you lie, if you're Mike from Suits and you don't actually have a law degree, okay, I get it. Like you're done. But like in terms of honestly, this is who I am, and I am being myself, and I'm putting myself out there, and whatever. Like I feel like you attract the people that vibe with you, and you vibe with them.
Truth, truth. And people are very sensitive to rejection. We don't like rejection. Rejection feels bad.
That's true. But it's like, but people would rather not have the opportunity to be rejected than try and find potential success.
Yeah. And I think you just got to get over it. Like you just got to get over the rejection sensitivity because you're going to get rejected. You're just going to get rejected. It's part of life. And the more you can get comfortable with it, the thicker your skin, the more resilient you'll be, the easier it is to bounce back. So, how can you maybe even practice putting yourself in a situation to get rejected and be okay with it if it's something that really, really bothers you?
Yeah. Well, that's why, and I wish I knew who this was because it's not me, but there's the guy who's like, ask for a discount at Starbucks. Like just go and be like, all right, it's $7 for your latte. Like, hey, can I get a discount? And I assume they always say no. Maybe it's not always, it's the majority of the time, but like, so what, Like, what is, I don't know. And
Hmm.
uh, let me be totally aligned with myself. I struggle doing this in those situations because of how awkward it seems. But at the same time, like, I don't mind launching a business and having the first 15 clients, laugh in my face for a price or something like that. So I don't know, like it's a balance.
Hmm. Absolutely. You got to find your niche. I saw something recently with somebody who was just suggesting that we all start flirting with life.
What does it
In
mean?
Yeah, so like it means he gave some examples. Like we go through our day so literally. I do this and we're not very fun. Nothing's very fun, but like what if we started flirting with life? Like somebody's like you get on an elevator and somebody's like are I'm floor 2, what floor are you? They're like, I don't know, just joking, like, what are the chances I can get a discount on this? Or what are the chances we could
Ah,
upgrade, blah, blah, blah. Just having a little bit more fun and being a little bit more playful with everyday interactions to just see what happens. And that is kind of putting yourself in a position where you might get rejected. People might think you're ridiculous and stupid, but you might stumble across opportunities that never would have happened if you hadn't been willing to just be a little bit more playful. So I'm going to try it.
there we go. Well, so something that I have tried to do recently that I think goes in alignment with this. Instead of deciding like that there are stupid holidays, I've started to embrace fun holidays. So like, oh, it's International Pizza Day, it's Talk Like a Pirate Day, it's what like there's 1,000 of these. Every single
Right.
day has a crazy
Right.
holiday. But if you found like one a week and just, and honestly, I asked ChatGPT, like, what are the ones for me? So there's National Flip Flop Day, there's Hawaiian Shirt Day, there's Love Your Lawyer Day. Like finding one of those and doing something like maybe that's your easy flirt with life. And then you could tell everybody, hey, it's International, Eat the World's Largest Pancake Day. I don't know, whatever these things are.
Love it. Love it.
I it's interesting, and I think the more that you are in alignment with yourself, the easier it is to find that spice, that flirting with life, that thing that is authentic to you instead of forcing yourself to ask every Starbucks barista for a discount or talk to
Totally.
the
That
person on
may
the
not be your
elevator.
thing. Yeah, exactly. Like, what's my thing? What's my thing? Like, I don't know what my thing would be. Like, flip-flops and Hawaiian shirts are so obviously your thing, but like, Yeah.
What's what's your thing?
Hmm. Excuse me. I don't know what that is about.
It's okay. I'm getting over
That's
a cold too, but
that's my
clearly it's not
phone.
the same cold because we're thousands of miles apart.
Hmm. I don't know. I don't know, but I'll figure it out. I mean,
Okay.
I have a gajillion kids, and so there's got to be something there.
That's funny. Yeah, but
Hmm.
and I don't know, maybe that's another chat GPT, right? What is my thing and how else can we
Hmm.
use it? And so then like if we're talking, like, I am a huge fan of gift giving, but I think giving people things for Hanukkah, Christmas, the holiday season is stupid because that's the only time that people give gifts. So, like, pick it, my birthday's on Cinco de Mayo. We do a Cinco de Mayo party. We don't do a Christmas party. Just like finding some
Hmm.
of those differences, like, it's more aligned with me. I think it's fun. It's my birthday. So we get
Hmm.
to, I get to host like 100 something people for my birthday every year,
Fun.
and it stands out and it's important and it helps drive our business and we enjoy it and it's a blast and we have
Yeah.
fun and we get to see people and I don't know, like, it just, you can do more of that when you are you and you're okay being you.
Hmm. I have a question for you. Modern Law is 15 this year. My company, 15 years old.
Yeah,
And I want to do a quinceañera themed party
there we go.
for Modern Law.
Okay.
Do we think that that's culturally insensitive or inappropriate?
Okay, so great question. I don't know the answer for you. I get asked that all the time and I tell them it's my birthday and I like tacos, so you can call this whatever you want. So I don't know. That's a question that you have to answer. But for me, I have a fun answer. I will say, the last cruise we went on, we were in Cancun, Cozumel at one of those, and like they tried to get my son to wear like some poncho and a sombrero and all this stuff, and we were like, the sombrero is fine, the poncho is too much. Like we don't need we don't need that part for him. So he has this like gigantic, giant red Mexico poncho that's like felt. It is the most over the top, hilarious thing. And I don't know which of us is more excited for him to wear it in another 5 weeks,
For the
six
Cinco de
weeks.
Mayo party,
Yeah.
how old are you going to be?
Me?
Mhm.
I am gonna be 37.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah. I'm excited.
It's a good one. I loved 37.
In 10 years?
No, no, no. I'm 44 now.
Whoa.
I loved 37. 37 was a great year.
What an interesting, I've never heard, well, I mean, I guess I haven't told people I'm gonna be, but I haven't heard the like 37 is the year.
I had a great year. I had a great year, 37. Just a great year.
Because you were you. You were living in alignment.
Yeah, and I feel like at 37 you're kind of pushing 40. You've gone through kind of a little bit of the slug, you know what I mean? Like you work really hard between 25 and 35. And we're talking about authenticity and how to build fun into life. It's really easy to just put your head down and grind for all those years. And then I feel like when you get closer to 40, you can take a step back and be like, okay, I've spent years building. There's something here. I have more flexibility now. I have more money now. I have more freedom now. At least that's what happened with me.
So for me, it was turning 30 because my kid was born 2 months before I turned 30. Like
Hmm.
that was mine. I was no fun in college.
Hmm.
I don't know. College roommates can vouch whether that's true or at least or close to true. Maybe I was a little bit of fun. But like it's been so much easier for me to have more fun now for whatever reason. And probably a lot of it's living in alignment. Like I don't wear pants. I just not like I'm wearing shorts. They're not, I could stand up, but just like it's 90 degrees in Orlando. Like what the hell? So there's a area by us called the Citrus Club that always tries to get me to join as a member, but they require pants. And I tell them that every time. And
I don't wear
sometimes they think it's
pants.
funny and sometimes they think it's mean, but like if I'm going to lunch for a networking lunch and I'm wearing pants, I'm already less happy than if I'm wearing shorts. Like I'm
Yeah.
happier to be there. I'm looking forward to it. I'm showing up with a smile. I can focus on the conversation. My calves aren't sweating and itchy and whatever. Like it's a whole
Yeah.
thing. And
So
it
it doesn't
sounds
matter what age you
stupid.
are. It doesn't matter what your birth
Yeah.
is. It doesn't matter where you're at in your life. Whenever it clicks, like, oh, I can do things differently, right? I can be more whatever. It's pretty amazing.
I
So
can
for
be
me, it's
more
later than
me.
you, I guess.
I can be more me. Like
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. Where else do you think people can be more unique in their life?
So it's this balance of how do I have to be able to get along with a group, my family, my coworkers, but that's going to be much, much, much easier if you are authentically you and then surrounding yourself with the right people. But I think that we spend so much time, masking or turning down parts of ourselves that are maybe unorthodox that most people don't even get to the point where they're like, I know who I want to be around. I know who my people are. I'm seeking out my people. How do we do that? You know?
Well, but the interesting thing for me is you've Okay, so let me back up for a second. Patton Oswalt wrote this really good thing about like the death of nerd, the death of weird, something like that. And he's like, when I was growing up, every Tuesday they released all the comic books. There were only two other kids I knew that read comics, so we had to be friends because we were the only three kids that would bike down to the comic book shop on Tuesdays and buy comic books. And now, like, if you look at the billion-dollar movies, like 80% of them are superhero movies, even if people don't read the comics. Like we're all trying to fit in, but we are so interconnected that you can fit in with people. And don't get me wrong, unfortunately, like that's weird, crazy, fringe, radicalized groups on both sides of the aisle. So like this can be a bad thing, but it can also be a good thing. Like you can get together with not just other lawyers and not just other family lawyers and not just other family lawyers who have personality and not just and family lawyers with personality that also have kids. Like you can get whatever community together that you want. The more that you are yourself, you will find a place to fit in by being more unique.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And the reality is, we've got the Surgeon General's warning that came out about, being a parent. And so if it, and how stressful it is these days, like how little time people have and how overwhelming things are. And so if that is where, let's assume most people running their business who are also running their lives are there. They're maxed out. They're maxed, stressed. All of their time is accounted for. They don't have time to go leisurely find their Dungeons and Dragons people or whatever. What should they be doing?
Well, I before answering that, I think but then God forbid something bad actually happens. Like you sort of need the time in your day to have an actual meltdown sometimes. If you truly schedule everything, if you're truly maxed bandwidth, like you can't allow the biggest issue. I mean, I think in terms of directly to your question, here's my cheat for it, and I don't know if this works for anybody else. If
Okay.
I play Dungeons and Dragons, which I don't, I would try it, but I haven't. If I did that, I would find chiropractors who play Dungeons and Dragons that would send me business. I would find other lawyers that do it that would send me business. I would find other people in the community who do that who would send me business and be like, "Hey, I get to go play D&D with my friends and make $10,000 on average every single time." Like for me, that's golf and pickleball and disc golf or top golf because like that's who I'm doing it with. So I can hack doing fun stuff with cool people that also drives a ton of revenue, like millions of dollars in referrals.
I think what you just said is so important. Like, yes, we have to do these things, right? And life is stressful and life is busy, but you don't have to do them the same way everybody's doing them. You can do them differently and you can do them uniquely and you can do them in a way that checks off all the boxes, that feeds your soul and builds your community and makes you money. Like, it's going to take some time to think about that. I think for me, I'm going to walk away from this and really think about that. Like, am I optimizing these things? But it's a great idea.
Well, but thank you. And the issue is like we definitely don't have to go it alone. Like if you connected with a new lawyer that you wanted to get to, or a new person, whatever, I want to spend more time with them. Great. What are you into? Where are you involved in the community? What are your hobbies and interests? There will be people that answer is none. I don't have time for any of those things. And that tells you something about them. But there might be somebody who's like the head of the PTA at the school that your kid goes to that you want to spend more time with and also be more involved in your kid's school. And like this is the in way. Like
Yeah.
there's a there's a tapping into other people to find hobbies and interests and organizations and opportunities and community involvement that's more fun because now you're not showing up alone to that first meeting.
Hmm. Totally agree.
It's funny how much we come back to like finding your people and how fun it is to find your people.
Yeah. I kind of miss, I mean, on one hand, post-COVID and remote work is beautiful and amazing. And on the other hand, I really kind of miss getting together with people in person. You know, conferences used to be a lot more vibrant than they are now. I don't know if you found that.
Yeah, I agree. But for me, though, it's been more like golf tournaments. Cause I'm in Orlando. There used to be a golf tournament, multiple ones every single week, and then like 90% of them died during COVID and haven't come back. So now there's like fewer and farther between. The conferences, yes, to what you said. However, like I try to either commit to or limit myself to two conferences a year. So it was just easier to like as fewer ones came back or became less
Mhm.
fun, I just like, okay, that's not one I'm
What are
going
your
to.
favorites?
Well, so Max Law's back this year. I'm excited.
When is that?
That is October 9th and 10th in Nashville.
Oh, I
Uh,
need to get, yeah. So you're going to that. Okay, what else?
Cleo, well, I'm going to be at an ABA Tech Show next week, the first week of
Hmm.
April.
Hmm.
You all listen to this, it will have already happened. And then CleoCon is in Boston. It's the week before, the week after Max Law. So
Hmm.
between those, like that's usually my
So
two
you're
of
doing those
three.
three. Nice.
Well, Max Law's back for the first time, I think, in 3 years, two
Yeah,
years,
that's
3 years.
exciting.
So
That's really exciting because that was
yeah.
a great conference.
And it was, well, it's a great conference. Yes, it's a great group of people.
Hmm.
And
And
I
that's
think
what
like
makes it a great conference.
right, like that's it's interesting to take all this back to finding your tribe and finding your people and finding your group. Like it's amazing to me how not just lawyers, but law firm owners who are in this group, who go to attend this conference, who tend to be parents of similar ages to you and I, with an interest in having a life and not bragging about who flew first class and who got the 120-ounce steak, but instead, like, who took a
Mhm.
great family vacation, like those things are out there when you look for as nichey as you can be for other
Mhm.
people to be like your vibe, your tribe, your group.
That's awesome. I agree.
Life is awesome when you do this, though. Like there's that throwaway line that's like, you get in touch with people spending so much money to look cool to people they don't care about or want to spend time with. Like just break that trap. It's liberating.
Yeah. And we're in a time where it's easier to even find your people than it ever has been. You know, we used to be limited to, geographically, and now you're not.
Yeah. Well, listen, you have a podcast, I have a podcast. Have a podcast. Like if you
Mhm.
want to meet people, because I swear to God, I get 100 pitches every day. They're like, you want to do a virtual coffee? No. You want to come on an hour-long podcast? Sure. I don't ask who watches it and how many people there, whatever. And people watch this, don't worry, but like I get to talk to super cool people across the whole country, right? Like
Yeah.
it's a thing.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah,
You
when you're
got to
doing
interview
podcasts.
the district attorney.
I did. That was really cool. I was very nervous.
Were you?
Yeah.
Because of the guest?
Yeah, and because she
Ah.
had done a lot of scolding and I had been critical of her.
But you did it.
But I did
And I'm
it.
sure the episode was better like knowing you as well as I do, I feel like your fear in that moment actually made you a better host.
I hope so. I hope so. And it doesn't matter. You just do it, right? It doesn't matter if you're nervous. It doesn't matter if you think it might fall flat. Like, it doesn't matter. Just say yes. That's the other thing I think that is a really great mantra to have is like, say yes to any opportunity. Don't say no ever to opportunities.
Oh, see, I disagree with that.
Really?
Yeah. Well, because like I think people get overcommitted.
Well, is it really
So,
an opportunity?
oh, okay, fair. All right. So then,
Like,
yeah.
is going and, volunteering at your kid's school for the fifth time that month an opportunity? I don't think so.
I see what you mean. Yeah, being open to say yes to the things that are truly opportunities.
And
Totally.
that make you uncomfortable and that might be a little scary and that might be outside your box and but you really want to. That's what I mean.
Well, and okay, so to use your example, the great example with the district attorney, like, what's the worst that could have happened? The district attorney gets there and yells at you and leaves early? Like,
On
I
my
think that's great
podcast,
news.
let's
Like,
do
hey, dear front page
it.
of Reddit, like, here's the, dodging me on a freaking podcast. Like, what the heck?
Exactly, on my podcast that she called me
Yeah.
that she wanted to be on it because I all of a sudden had influence over local elections. Like, how random is this? But only happened because like I paid attention to what people wanted to talk about and wanted to hear about, and I kept doing it, right? So the nice thing about social media is you'll get feedback immediately about what people want to talk about, and then you follow the feedback.
I dig that. But how are you following the feedback regardless, or are you figuring out Billy's take on the feedback? Or like what's that balance between following the feedback and being authentic?
Well, I'm I'm never going to do anything that's not authentic.
Okay.
I just can't. You know what I mean? And if you do it enough, you have a style and that's your style and that's, you know what I mean? So I've been making content for a gazillion years. It's always going to be authentic. I don't love doing like the celebrity divorce stuff. Like it's not my favorite thing, but sometimes you got to do it and people love it and they want to talk about it and then we got to talk about it.
Gotcha. I just, it amazes me how much like, oh, this person's a lawyer, so they can comment on this. Regardless of area of law, honestly. Like if you
Right.
are just being a lawyer, just that Esquire is like,
Yeah.
I have insightful things to say about many topics.
Immediate credibility. Like people
Yeah.
will listen to you. How crazy is that?
I think about that all the time. Like, Netflix had this really great, I forget, it was like about the unification of Japan. It was like Birth of the Samurai or something like that. So in the 1500s, on the push into the modernization and unification of Japan, the first battle was like 1,500 people. I'm like, we can post something on LinkedIn and get 100 times the amount of engagement of what started the unification of an entire country. Like, what a time to be alive.
Right, right. Yeah. And it is a crazy time. There's a lot of things to comment about if you think about it. There's a lot of things that you could be commenting about. So what are trending topics? What are trending topics that you care about, that you have something to say about, and then say it?
Yes, I love it. All right, so for people listening to this, what's the first step? Like I think we've come back to finding your people and being aligned, but like, what do they do today?
In their business?
They finish listening to this podcast and we have motivated. They are Kool-Aid man ready to run through the wall in exchange for, or not exchange, in service of finding a better life, living more in alignment, whatever. What do they do first?
Okay, the first thing I would do if I were listening to this podcast and I was thinking to myself, I'm not doing this enough. This is a missed opportunity. I could be more authentic. I could be more authentic in the way I'm structuring these things. I would probably go to ChatGPT
Okay.
and unload that. Hey, I listened to this podcast. Here were the takeaways. Here are some things that resonated with me, and here's some ways that I think I have some opportunity to improve. Can you help me figure out my missed opportunities, ways that I can go? Ask me whatever questions you need to so that we can figure out a plan for me to live more authentically and more freely. That's what I would do.
That I've asked this question a ton. That's the best, most actionable answer.
Really?
Yeah. Well, because like, here's what we're gonna do, team. We're gonna take this podcast and drop it in a chat GPT and ask it to give us this answer and then run it with the episode. But like, the answer is going to be different for everybody, but it's a really good framework to figure out the next step for each person.
Yeah. You got this. You can do it.
Yeah. And we're here for you. Comment on us,
Tell
tag
us how it
us,
goes.
send
Tell
an email,
us.
whatever. Yeah.
What are
That
your
being said,
insights?
for people that are smart enough to want to connect with you more and hear your insight and see this in practice and check out your podcast and hear Billy being Billy on different topics, what's the best way for them to get in touch?
I'm very easy to find. Pick your favorite social platform and you will find me there. But also feel free to reach out via email or via my website, and I'd love to connect.
Do you want to, for anybody You want to verbalize the email address you want them to use?
No,
Okay, cool. No problem.
they'll find me.
There we go. I like it. It's a lesson. All right,
I don't
so
really want a gazillion people emailing me.
that's true. But commenting on the videos and sharing the stuff and engaging on it and seeing you be you in a walk the walk moment, great opportunity.
Hmm.
Awesome. Billy, thank you for being with us today. To
Thank
everybody who
you.
was watching and or listening, thank you for your time. We'll see you back here next week for the next episode of the Laid Back Life podcast. In the meantime, chat GPT now with the prompt. Billy gave it to you and we'll drop it for those of you who are seeing this. If you're listening to it, you'll have to rewind and get the words. Have a
I'll
great
see you
day,
at next
everybody.
walk on.
There we go. I'll see you in next time in Nashville.
Cool. Bye.